Hey everyone, it's not a huge surprise that we are back with another hand from Courtney like every single week, and we can jump right into the action. This time we have another great hand in the big blind, Jack 9 suited, and let's see how we're going to play this. Actually, it's going to be pretty short hand, but I really think this is an important concept that everyone wants to understand and see. So we defend from the big blind, which is with a no question asked is the best play. No way we want to free bet such hand. We obviously want to call with it, and we're checking here our entire range most of the time. Well, maybe not entire range, but huge part of it. So checking here is clear option again. When your opponent checks, we have a very interesting spot. In this particular situation, I would be battling here like almost all the hands as a bluff, so obviously I want to be value betting pretty wide as well. Therefore, this hand is very easy bet, it's not even close, and let's see what Courtney does. She does bet, however, one thing that I want to notice here is bet sizing. You always want to think a little bit in advance what you're going to do on the river with your whole range, with your hand, and how that will affect your decision. So here, even though the bet is great, I love it, I think it's a mandatory bet here on the turn, you really want to bet bigger to build the pot for profitable river shot. Right now, you will end up having very awkward stacks. As you see, after your opponent calls, you will have 44,000 in the middle, and you have 56 left. This gives you a little bit of a tough spot. It's not great to shove such hand for valor because you're not likely to get called by many worse hands. So you have to bet bigger on the turn. If you would be bluffing, it would make a little bit more sense, but still, you want to balance out your ranges and play it effectively, so I would bet bigger on the turn with my whole range and maximize my full equity. On the flop, your opponent going to check pretty wide ranges here, so you do have a lot of valor to get. He's not going to see bet even lower pairs like 7x, 8x, even weaker 9x. He's going to have some flush draws, straight draws, and so on, because it doesn't make much sense for him to battle those hands because the board really hits big blind calling range, so people are not bluffing overall very aggressively in these areas. So for this reason, you really can get valor. You should be betting bigger to maximize your equity with the hand. Even for valor, even when you're bluffing all the time, you should be preparing to make a decision on the river and always think in advance. So the biggest thing, what I want to say here, I guess, is that bet sizing is crucial. You really want to understand what you're trying to achieve and then base your bet on that. So even though the bet is great on its own, I do think that it is too small and you should be betting bigger to gain all the valor that we discussed already. We see the river, which is pretty terrible card, you check and your opponent bets. He bets 28,000 here, and I really do not see any way how you could call. I do not see any way how you could be betting in the first place, so checking obviously is great line. But you really need to take in consideration that your opponent can easily have flush draws, can easily have 10x, and there's just not many bluffs he could actually bet because the river is probably even better for your range. I do think you should not be risking enough. People are not over bluffing these spots, and there's just not missed valor hands. Missed draws like he could have very few theoretical draws. I do not think he's ever going to turn hand like aces, kings, queens, or jacks into a bluff here and bet it on the river. So you kinda have no reason to call. However, this time Courtney decides to call. Maybe she had a read on her opponent, maybe it was a very aggressive one, but generally, if you do not have any additional information, you should use this hand as a snaffle on the river. Yes, we were preparing to shove the river ourselves on many runouts, however we got one of the worst of them, and even if you have a plan to bet on the river and it actually brings one of a few very bad cards for you, you should not necessarily proceed with your previous plan, you need to adjust it. So even though we have to plan in advance and think what is the best line, but if the circumstances changes, if we have a very bad run out, we have to give up with the hand, and that is okay. This is just a part of the game. It's not going to always be this run out. Sometimes you're going to get very good ones and get a lot of extra valor, or even check and let your opponent bluff. However, when you have a terrible one, check folding is fine. So do not be afraid to give up the hand. Always think about the bet sizing. It is very important part. I can even put it towards how much extra value you can get if you will be able to manipulate your opponent by choosing great bet sizing and getting max value out of that. So this is the tip of this day. Hope you enjoyed the video. If that is the case, subscribe to my channel to see even more of those, and talk to you soon, guys. Cheers.